like to call the order of the Royal Oak Downtown Development Authority, February 19, 2020 meeting. Start right in on the agenda here. We will start with public comment. If you're here to discuss anything that is or is not on the agenda, now would be that time. Just raise your hand and we'll get you up here and give us your name for the record, please.
My name, Alan Ashley. I'm president of Royal Oak Manor. And I want to talk about item number 9, the Metrotimes blowout. I have a couple of questions for Metrotimes, and I hope they can answer it. One, I have about almost 27, maybe 30 people to move parking. And if they're going to be parking around, what I need to know is where are their guests and attendees going to be parking? If they're going to park around Royal Oak Manor, I need to know that so I can find a space for 27 people to park for those 2 days. And there is nothing in the stuff that was on the agenda for that tells me where they're going to park. The other problem I have is if there is going to be activity at 526, which is across the street from Royal Oak Manor, they are famous for having their windows fully open and the volume cranked up to about 70 on the microphones. I live on the east side of the building at Royal Oak Manor, and when they're playing at 1 o'clock or 1:30 in the morning, it's like sitting on the hill at Pine Knob. For the other side of the building, it's like being at a Metallica concert on the first row. It's really loud, and we have made many complaints to the police department about them, and it seems that they don't care. So if they are holding an event and having them play at 526, I would like to make sure, one, that those windows stay closed and the volume turned down if it's going to be till 2 o'clock in the morning. We have no problem with Maury's or Bar Louie's with their music because we can't hear it. It's 526, that's the worst. And we have filed many complaints with the police department. They've been out many times to tell them to turn it down. They seem not to do that. So if Metrotimes people are here, I'd like them to tell me what they're doing with parking and how are they going to stem the noise level from across the street from Royal Oak Manor. Thank you.
One thing, I believe, so you're saying it's not only loud, but in the summer, the windows are open after midnight?
Yes.
Because I believe in the plan of op, if I'm not mistaken, of all three, Maury, 526, no, not Bar Louie, I don't think, well, yeah, they do have a constable, but, so that goes back to Blackfin, yeah. And also, the garage doors at, Buffalo Wild Wings, I think it's midnight.
Well, I'll tell you, they have played well beyond 1 o'clock.
They can play.
But those windows are open, literally open, and
Okay.
I mean, it is, you should go out there sometime in the summer.
Well, I get it. I live right across the street, so we get, actually, it's kind of funny from our angle. When the Maury's open, you hear it more because of the bounce back.
Right. Well, we don't hear Maury because they're right next door to us. But 526 is right across the street, and those big windows are open, and they crank that thing up to whatever, and it is loud. And past 1 o'clock, many nights, many nights.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Seeing none, I'll close public comment. Move on to the regular agenda. Item number 3, approval of the meeting minutes from January 15th, 2020. Everybody had a chance to look those over?
I did. I'll make a motion to approve.
A motion to approve
Support.
and support. Any questions? None? Call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Item 4, expense items. Monthly expenses. you have any questions for Mr. Twing.
Yeah,
now
real,
would be
real
the
quick.
time.
Tim, on the Fusco Shafford, the architectural services, what was that one in related to?
The commercial space in the ground floor of the deck on
Got it.
Second Street.
Got it, Second Street deck?
The
Okay.
actual contract was a little over 40,000. The plans have been submitted to building for their review. Once those are done, we'll send it out for bid. Once the bids are back, those bids will come to the DDA for your approval and the commission's approval, and then we'll award it and build and fill out that space.
So is the 14,000, is that a deposit or is that for the entire?
It's for some portion of the work. It's
Okay.
for the development phase. I believe we've paid another 19,000. It'll probably show up next month.
Okay.
So I believe the total is 40-some thousand, 45.
Got it.
Any other questions regarding monthly expenses? Seeing none, I'll move on. Item number 5, Oakland County Main Street request, Great Lakes Conference. Sean, I think this is you.
Last year I attended the first Great Lakes Main Street Conference that was held in South Bend, Indiana. It was a collaboration between Indiana Main Street, Oakland County Main Street, I believe the Michigan Main Street organization, and a number of other Great Lakes Main Street organizations around the region. That was held in South Bend. It was in August. It was a fantastic conference. It really focused on a lot of the Midwestern downtowns, and it was unique from the national one in the sense that it was able to really focus on our regional issues and what's facing downtowns in the Midwest area. So at the conclusion of that conference, the Lieutenant Governor of Indiana announced the second Great Lakes Main Street Conference, and they would like to hold that in Royal Oak of this year. They'd like to hold it on October 5th and 6th. Oakland County Main Street is the primary organizer on this. They've been in touch with the Hyatt Hotel to reserve a block of 100 rooms for conference attendees. And they've also come to the Royal Oak DDA with a sponsorship request. So we have Annika Norris, who's our Main Street coordinator here from Oakland County, and I'm sure if you guys have any questions, she might be able to answer some of those. But they primarily came to us with a request for 3 things. So the first thing was they'd like to have parking validated for attendees of the conference who are not otherwise staying in the Hyatt Hotel. So this would be for attendees who are not in the block of 100 rooms but have to stay at overflow hotels, you know, whether it be down the street or in Birmingham or Madison Heights, what have you. The second request is they wanted to have the DDA provide the library auditorium as a separate venue for the 2 days of the conference. And the third request was that the DDA provide the farmers market as a session venue and a vendor area for the 2 days of that conference. And then they also want to work with me to get a number of downtown businesses to sign on to be areas for, you know, tours for conference attendees, other sessions, things like that as well. So I went through, and with the help of the Consumer Marketing Committee, we established the value of this in-kind sponsorship. And it comes to about $9,525 if we conservatively estimate that you know, every conference attendee will use the parking structure during that time. That gave us a rough estimation of $3,500 in value of parking costs. The farmers market venue, that would be a total of $5,600, and providing the library as a venue would be $325. So there's a resolution prepared for the DDA's consideration to grant this request in the amount not to exceed $10,000.
What do they think the total attendance will be, just out of curiosity?
So I think the estimated total attendance was about 350 people.
350? Mm-hmm. Okay. And from all over the region, from the Great Lakes region?
Right. So we'd see downtown managers, executive directors of downtown organizations, public officials, mayors, what have you.
So I looked at the dates and it looks like October 5th and 6th is a Monday and Tuesday. Or was that what the dates were when it was in Indiana? Was it a Monday?
It was.
And Tuesday? Okay.
And then I was at the county office earlier today at a planning meeting for this, and they were even talking about having an early arrivals reception somewhere on a Sunday night even. So they could potentially expand to include the 4th. So, but parking is free on the 4th. So.
I have two questions, Sean. One, well, one for you and one for Mr. Gillum here, but, so is there, maybe Tim, maybe this is for you, is there currently parking available at the farmer's market at this time? I mean, should they hold a,
On the west side, that lot is open, and on the east side, that is open. And by October of 2020, City Hall will be done, and the police building will be done, and the entire lots will be open.
and those lots are, paid by,
Metered lots.
they're metered lots?
Pay stations.
Pay station, yeah.
Pay station lots, okay. It's just, I guess, well, the reason why I'm asking is if I'm an attendee.
I don't
and-
think the intent is to provide validation at those lots. It's, the intent's to
To
put
get
them
them
in the deck.
into the deck
Yeah,
and
it's
provide
It's gonna
that.
be impossible to put them in the.
No, I get that, but I also get that if I'm an attendee of the event that's happening at the farmer's market, I could use that lot, but I would pay, I'd have to fill the meter.
If you want
Right.
convenience, certainly.
If you want convenience, yeah, you would, I mean,
So I think, just to clarify, the conference, the farmer's market is just one location where they're gonna be holding some sessions. They're gonna have concurrent sessions at the library. They're in talks with, the Main Art Theater to hold a plenary session there too. A number of other locations in the downtown area, that they're currently in discussions with too. So, I mean, I think ideally, perhaps we should prefer that they park in structures. Plus the validation, I think, is easier to keep track of too. So I mean,
Okay.
I know Parkrite can handle that pretty easily. I had a brief phone conversation with Teresa from Parkrite about that, and they currently run validation programs for a number of the office buildings down here, and it doesn't seem to be too challenging for them. Plus, I felt that validation would be easier than pre-paying for those stubs that you would put in the parking structure.
Yeah.
Only because, you know, you don't know how many people are gonna use them. You could potentially buy too many, buy too few. Validation, you only pay what you use.
okay, I'm good. Any other discussion regarding this? Yes.
Just, I see our library director out in the audience, Ms. Dumas. I don't know if she has anything to add or comment on this item or not, because it would involve the use of the library, so.
Yeah, please come. Yes.
I know that Sean's already arranged it, booked the room. It is a capacity of 125, though. Stephanie told you that, right? Okay. All right.
Yep. Yeah, I spoke to Stephanie last week, and she's tentatively holding the space for us.
Good.
If you do approve it, funding will be in next fiscal year's budget. It won't be part of this year's.
Yeah, I just think, I think this is a great opportunity. I think, you know, it's an honor to be chosen for this, and I think that, you know, helping out for a little bit under $10,000 as a sponsorship is a noble gesture, to say the least, on our part. I think this is wonderful, and I love the fact that it's earlier in the week, brings some, which are usually some of our slower traffic days, particularly during the day, and it's at a time where, you know, the new city hall is going to be done. This will be moving along pretty well. The police station will be done by October. That'll be awesome. A lot of stuff is coming on board, so I think this is great.
Sean, just one question. What are the hours of the event that you'll need the library auditorium?
So Monday, I believe it was from 10 to 4:30. And then Tuesday, I think they had in their schedule, when the library opens would be at 10, until I think about noon.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And I would say the committee thought the same thing, that this is a great opportunity for us to be a showcase for Oakland County.
And I'll just add that, in my discussions with the farmer's market, I just wanted to say just how much I appreciate the fact that they worked with me on this, because they originally did have something scheduled that week. an event of their own that they elected to move to make the space available for this too, so.
And one more thing on top of it was some of the other stuff that we've got on the agenda today and that we're doing in terms of promoting our downtown. The different arms that we're gonna have in place to do promotion, they can promote the heck out of this thing to the local media. That, you know, hey, we've been chosen, you know, this is a Great Lakes Conference. I mean, this isn't just Oakland County, this isn't just the state of Michigan. This is great, the Great Lakes are coming to us. And I think that's a great thing that we can push. And Monday and Tuesday can be typically Sunday days, so. I think we'll get some good coverage out of it. So I would move to approve.
I have a motion to approve the recommended resolution,
I second.
and a second. Any further discussion? Not, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion passes. Okay, item number 6, 505 South Main Streetscape Assistance on Fifth Street.
The board may recall that you did receive a request to assist with installation of streetscape along the south side of Fifth Street, adjacent to a new project that is wrapping around the Vibe Credit Union. They are required to install the city's standard streetscape along that south side of Fifth Street from the alley to Main Street. As part of your packet, you should have a copy of the plans as approved by the city and laid out. Individuals have requested that DDA assist with the installation by providing some reimbursement funding. It has been in front of the Infrastructure Committee at a couple of meetings. The committee did ask for additional information about a breakdown and breaking out the various components of concrete, stamp-colored concrete, lighting fixtures, and so on. They did provide that, and the committee did meet last February 4th, and the committee is recommending the DDA reimburse for the colored stamp concrete estimate in an amount not to exceed $3,255, provided all the work is completed pursuant to the approved plans and the submission of invoices.
As it was informational only, when they, I'm just wondering, when they originally went into this project, and again, this is strictly informational, was their plan originally to just totally raise the whole thing and start from scratch, or were they, I thought they were gonna work with the existing structure, no?
Well, initially, they were working with the plan, talked about keeping the structure. And then they, I believe as they got into it, decided that it was going to be more work and cost to try and maintain some of that structure than it was to just tear it down and start over.
Okay, and then the other question I have, neither here nor there, because I think we definitely do want to do with the stamped, is the rest of that block there, is that already all stamped? Has that already been replaced?
No, it hasn't been east of the alley at all.
Okay,
Next to Jolly Pumpkin is done.
okay.
But-
But the thing
but
is, to
from the
definitely
alley
do that
west,
stamped, because eventually it's all gonna be, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Okay. Well, that being said, I think that makes
This is,
a lot of sense.
this is for the DDA to pay for the upgrade.
Correct.
They are required to put in regular concrete,
Oh, okay.
so we're just paying for the upgrade
Got it.
of the stamp colored concrete.
Which we would, when
We've done this in other parts of the.
Right, when we eventually do the whole block, we're going to do it
Right.
anyway.
Right,
Got it.
correct.
Okay.
Any other questions from the board here? Okay, seeing none, there is, I believe, a proposed resolution here.
We're just talking about the 3255, correct?
Correct.
If nobody else does, I would move to approve that.
I have a motion to approve.
I'll support.
Supported. Any other further discussion? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Okay. Item number 7, holiday tree lighting, farmer's market, courthouse.
Basically, last year, the DDA had contracted with 360 Event Productions to include a tree lighting ceremony as part of that, their project or their activities. That was carried out on 3rd Street. This year, given the approved contract with 360 Event Productions, that portion was not included. Given that the City Hall and Police Building will be done by the potential date next year, and there is an opportunity to use the existing tree in the roundabout area, at least until the park's done, the thought was to let the farmer's market take over that activity again this year, as they've done for several years in the past. So the committee is recommending that that occur. I have contacted Shelley from the market, and they're more than willing to coordinate. I'm sure there will be some information coming back about what the actual activity will be. Alls I was looking for today was confirmation that the DDA board was, as a body, was comfortable with them taking that back, and we would allow the farmer's market to move forward with coordinating that activity next December, November. So there is a simple resolution there if the board's in agreement with that.
Is the Consumer Marketing Committee on board with this?
Yes,
It's a one-year deal.
Is it a one-year deal?
yes,
Yeah,
until the
because
park is.
we'll
until the
re-event
park is-
everything.
And we'll have a park.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think this is a good thing because this is actually something that we've dealt with, I know, for the last 2 or 3 years, and there's been confusion and so forth. So I think Sean and I are working with the market and with the producers of the Jingle to try and coordinate all of this so that we can all be on the same page and all be going in the same direction here, and we won't have the confusion that we've had in the past, so.
Yeah, and from the markets, I mean, from our standpoint, when our discussion in committee was the fact that the market does have a heavy resident and otherwise other people know about this holiday market of theirs. They expect that the tree lighting is happening, there's Santa there. It makes a lot of sense to hand this over to them till we can get a better plan in place once we get
And
it
remove
apart.
the confusion.
Yes.
Just out of curiosity, looking down the road, and this is all, just conjecture at this point, but with the park, is the thought that that's where the tree will be in the park, and one tree for the market and the city, I mean, just everything?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I think our hope is. out of
Which
it
makes all
coming.
the sense in the world. I mean, we're building this jewel in the center of the city, we may as well use it for that.
And not to speak for Lori, but the other purpose of this is, this would happen very close to right after Thanksgiving, so it's kind of kicking off the holiday season. Our parade is kind of giving that final touch to the
Got it.
holiday seasons next year, or this year, so it gives us a whole calendar of events that we can
Right.
wrap the city around and get everyone organized around.
Any other discussion?
Just there was a lot of confusion and uncertainty this past year with what was going on, and there has been and still is a lot going on across the street anyway, but I think this is a great idea. And I think this brings us back to the idea when we used to have the Christmas tree lighting right out here outside City Hall
Right.
early in the season to kick off the holidays.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
As opposed to-
exactly,
As
yes.
opposed to when the glow is. Yeah, I like that.
Perfect idea, yeah. Okay, so there is a suggested resolution before us.
I make the motion to approve this resolution.
Motion to approve.
Or
Supported? Any other discussion? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Okay. Item number 8, 360 Event Productions Jingle Agreement. Um,
I can take that.
Okay,
So the Consumer Marketing Committee is recommending that the DDA approve a 3-year sponsorship agreement of the Holiday Jingle and Light Parade, which has been managed by 360 Event Productions. Last year, the event entitled Games, Activities, Vendors on 3rd Street. It included the annual cookie crawl, and it featured a lighted parade for the first time. So the proposed agreement with 360 includes an initial sponsorship amount for the 2020 holiday jingle of $70,000, which is the same as it's been in years prior. The additional future 2 years, along with subsequent proposed sponsorship amounts, is proposed to be determined after an annual evaluation that the DDA will schedule with 360. That's going to occur within 45 days following the next holiday jingle event. So that provision also allows either party to terminate the agreement should they wish at that time. Otherwise, it would continue course for the 3-year sponsorship. So should the DDA concur with that, there's a resolution here. To approve the proposed 3-year sponsorship agreement with 360 Event Productions for the Holiday Jingle and Light Parade. And Tim, I believe you included some additional budget information here because it's contingent that we pay her the first amount of the sponsorship in this fiscal year, even though the event takes place in the following fiscal year. So I know there were some questions surrounding that I received earlier today, so I just wanted to clarify that.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just real quick question, semantics, I guess. Just so I'm understanding, it's technically a 3-year agreement, but more or less it's like 3 1-year agreements? Is that kind of like the way it is? Because both parties have the option to opt in or out each year.
We wanted to have the ability to have input after each year to evaluate.
And possibly increase the contract, decrease the contract for both sides. So basically, it's more or less an agreement to work in good faith together for 3 years.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
And then, just for clarity purposes, Tim, this is not you have here an additional 45,000, that's essentially the first payment?
Yes, because the first payment will occur during this fiscal year for an event occurring next year.
Fiscal year.
We'd have to add it to this year's line item, so it'll come out of the contingency. And
Okay.
get added to the line item for contract
That's fine.
services.
The question that came before me was asked, somebody read it as an additional 45,000 beyond the $70,000
No.
contract.
No, it's just coming out of this year's
It's
budget.
just the way that it's being budgeted, okay,
Next year, you'll see the balance in next fiscal year.
okay. Perfect, thank
So
you.
the one question I have is, they do have other contracts with the city for other events that the DDA sponsors. Is there any thought of putting all of those together?
You're talking about all of the
Spooktacular.
360 event production,
Yeah.
putting it all into one contract?
Yeah.
I don't think that that's been discussed. I think
Okay.
probably what should happen is, it maybe should be discussed back at the Consumer Marketing Committee if there's any interest in following up on it and look at it, but I think it should be,
Okay,
it should be sent back to committee for that portion of it.
if it should, okay.
Yeah, I don't know that we see any cost savings by doing that, but if we do that, I think the important thing is we still need to have the ability to opt out or terminate after a specific event. If
Correct.
there's one event that isn't getting it done for us, we need to be able to pull the plug on that one event.
I would agree.
Okay. If everybody's okay, I'm looking for a motion to this
I would,
resolution.
based on, like I said, I think I'll revisit it again. I think that the parade was an incredible success, especially for a first-year event. The cookie crawl was spectacular. I think some people had mentioned that maybe there's some work to do on the tent area, but it seems like things are going forward with that. And again, I'll go back to with all the stuff, the other stuff, the ancillary stuff that we're doing to promote the downtown. I think this will just I think it'll grow and grow and grow. And I think now especially, we need to stay consistent.
I would agree.
Okay.
So I would move to approve.
Motion to approve.
I'll support.
And supported. Any other discussion? If not, I'll call for, I'm sorry.
Who supported it?
I did.
Laurie did.
Sorry. I will call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Man, the Consumer Marketing Committee was busy this month.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay,
That was a very long meeting.
item number 9, Metrotimes Blowout 2020 agreement.
I wasn't gonna say that.
Is you too, Sean, or?
Yep, did a lot of writing this past month. Consumer Marketing Committee recommends the DDA approve a sponsorship agreement in the amount of $50,000 for Royal Oak Blowout. This is the event that came before the DDA last month, organized and managed by the Metrotimes. So, as we went over last month, just to remind the board, the event is proposed to take place on June 5th and 6th in the public lot at 6th and Main Street. Many local businesses are likely to participate as venues for additional musical acts throughout the downtown. The event is estimated to include over 100 live musical acts over its 2-day duration. Additionally, other businesses are being evaluated to possibly qualify as venues for art displays or, other types of attractions in the downtown. I think the philosophy here that the organizers had is that they wanted to have an event that had a positive economic impact on the brick and mortar stores here in the downtown. So funding had already been approved at the January 15th DDA meeting, and that is out of the balance of the promotions budget. Attached to this is the summary description of the event along with the proposal. And should the DDA concur with the Consumer Marketing Committee's recommendation for the agreement, there's a resolution prepared for its consideration.
So this is, we're just approving the agreement. We've already approved the money. This is just the agreement. Yeah, got it.
And it is subject to a special event permit being approved by the city. In terms of parking and some of those issues, those will be part of the special event permit. You're simply providing a sponsorship dollar amount to the event organizer based on them doing certain things. So your input is really not a parking one, it's really gonna be driven by the city.
Basically, we're saying if the city says, okay, we're cutting a check for 35, and then at the end of the event, we're cutting a check for 15. That's pretty much what this is.
And unlike the other festival in town, the parking are great parking structures. That's where we want people to park. Pay the $5, park all day. So we don't think parking will be a problem.
Good. And because all the different venues are gonna be spread out all over. Yeah, this event, I like this event.
We have more than enough parking.
Yeah.
And hopefully people can Uber too.
Okay.
I would move to approve.
I have a motion to approve.
I'll support.
Not many of us here today.
And supported. Any other questions or anything? Yes.
One other comment I was
Yes.
gonna make, Mike, as to the comments that Mr. Ashley made during public comment earlier. Assuming this does move forward, assuming that the city commission does approve a special event permit, that is in no way gonna alter the obligation of any of the licensees, including 526, to comply with their plan of operation. This isn't a pass on anything that's in their plan of operation. They're still gonna have to follow that.
Correct.
And Mr. Ashley, I'll make the chief of police aware of your comments,
Yeah.
so.
Absolutely.
Also, like, I hate to say this, but we may be under construction for a rehab of our building. It will take a year. And if that happens, parking and stuff is really gonna be limited. And if 222 6th Street goes under construction, it will really affect parking around Royal Oak Manor. So please consider that of those two things, because we are gonna rehab our building inside and out. And when it's done, I invite everybody to come on down and take a look at the building after it's done. It'll be 1 year construction.
When is that starting?
should start sometime in June, maybe early July, and last for 1 year. It'll be our parking lots, every floor, every apartment will be done. So I will let you know when it's done, and I invite all you to come down and see the complete redone of the building on the inside and out. Even the outside painting will not be pink anymore.
Mr. Ashley, I just wanted to add, I have been talking to Sergeant Tycho, who is in charge of approving events for the police department, and when we were discussing the Metrotimes event, the senior center parking issue was one of the priority concerns, so that's something that we will make sure that we pay attention to.
Should I keep in touch with you or Sergeant Tycho?
I think either would be fine.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? I just have two quick things. One, Sean, if you could just make sure, what I would like to see is, and I guess maybe consumer marketing, I'd like to see the Metrotimes people come back to you guys in a couple months and give an update as to where they're at and kind of lay out the event for you so we have a good understanding of everything and we don't just kind of see it at the last minute.
Right, we did ask for that.
Okay, fine.
I would assume we'll get updates monthly because they're gonna, they're gonna have to get the permitting and all that done.
Right.
I
And
feel
that's
like
gonna
this
be-
has to be,
Yeah.
I feel like this has to become a work group a bit,
Yeah,
just to make sure that, I am, not to say I'm concerned, but I want to make sure that those venues that are for art really do get help from the Metrotimes and not are just, and that those are really solid agreements and not just false
extras,
flags.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
I agree.
and Sean, you'll probably, have to quarterback this as well to make sure that, once everything starts to crystallize, that we're using all of our promotional arms to get this
Yes.
out there. Because this is something I think that really has incredible appeal, broad appeal throughout the whole region. And again, I think, I would love it if it was a huge smash out of the box, but I think this is something that's
Right.
gonna build and build and build. And again, it's gonna require stick-to-itiveness. And this can really be a highlight event of the year, if we do it right and keep doing it.
Yes.
The Metro Times is invested to make it work as well.
Sure, sure.
So,
Good.
populate me.
But we need to use every promotional arm at our disposal to get this
I
out.
feel like this
I've been
is,
talking to a lot of our media outlets and, billboard companies and
Yep.
everything too, just to have that conversation, just to see what our options are. Should the DDA want to, have some extra promotional efforts in regards to
Absolutely.
the event.
right, and I feel like it's bringing a little bit of our DNA back,
I
so.
agree.
Okay. If there's nothing further, we have a motion and a second on the table already. So I will call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion passes. Computer's slow here. Okay, item number 10, Screw Social Media Agreement. I think, Sean?
Tim, quick question. If I send you something via email, is it possible to pull it up on that or?
I doubt it.
No worries.
We can run it on a laptop if we have to.
Yeah, I've shown most of the committee members.
Okay.
So recently, the Business Marketing Committee got together to have a serious conversation about the importance of marketing and promoting the downtown as a regional destination. And I just want to add to that over the years, downtown Royal Oak has earned a strong reputation as being one of Southeast Michigan's entertainment, dining, and shopping destinations. And we've done a lot of marketing things and a lot of advertising to help reinforce that. However, it's pretty clear with the rise of popularity of other neighboring downtowns, resurgence of downtown Detroit, a major city, with a number of popular amenities, it's become clear that supply may be well overtaking demand, and we should do some things to continue to stimulate demand throughout the region for downtown Royal Oak, for all the amenities, the shopping amenities, the dining, the entertainment. So the Business Marketing Committee members sat down And they had a conversation with members of Scroove, which is here today to potentially answer any questions you may have. And they saw a proposal that Scroove put together that puts together kind of some short vignette videos that promotes, restaurants, dining, shopping, entertainment in downtown Royal Oak. The videos were really well put together. I know the Business Marketing Committee saw them. I sent the links to the Consumer Marketing Committee, and I hope that they had a chance to review those as well. And so they put together a proposal for the Business Marketing Committee to consider. That would include a total of 4 short 1-minute videos per month highlighting a downtown business. That would also include a moderately long 5 to 8 minute video that would be more of an in-depth, kind of a deeper dive into one particular business or industry or economic sector in downtown Royal Oak. And they, as a demo, and I think most of you saw it, they sat down with Mesa, and they tried the fare. They saw the drinks. They interviewed the owner, and it was downright Anthony Bourdain-ish. I thought it was really well done. Just the quality of the work was really remarkable. So Scroove's proposal is to actually do some work for the DDA for a total of 6 months, to do a total of 24 1-minute videos, 6 5 to 8 minute promotional videos, and I think if I added that up correctly, 150 digital photos of downtown Royal Oak and its businesses. So they're proposing to be paid a total of $45,000 over the duration of a 6-month contract. This will be divided into monthly payments of $7,500. And if the DDA concurs with this recommendation, there's a resolution for its consideration.
Dr. Riley, yes.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna add a little more to the table here, give you some of our thinking on this. What the Business Marketing Committee, and I think a lot of us, and we've talked between committees, that for lack of a better term, now is the time. I think a lot of us have talked back and forth, and like we've gone at stuff, we've what I say, like dipped our toe in the water, and we've worried at times about different arms of marketing and promotion and crossing over and maybe touching, bumping into each other. And we've come to the conclusion that I don't want to say we want to throw caution to the wind, and we're not being financially irresponsible, but with everything that's going on in the city now, both good and bad, we feel that now is the time that we need a full-bore, all-arms promotion campaign between Siren and Scroove have already have talked. They understand. But both are working together and side by side. Sean will basically be captaining the ship, so you'll have the Scroove guys will be providing content. Siren will be using it to promote different things. Be getting input from everybody in the Consumer Marketing Committee and the community as to what we're going to feature. It's not going to be just bars and restaurants. It's not going to be just retail. It's going to be everything. It's going to be events. It's going to be the Comedy Castle. It's going to be the Baldwin Theater. It's going to be whatever's making Royal Oak what it is. It's going to be the pedicabs. There'll be different things. The one thing I'll say is I'll speak for myself, and I think I can speak for just about everybody. We're not 100%. These guys, I think I've broached this with them before. We're not 100% sold on the breakdown of the 5-minute video and this, that, and the other. We might get into it and feel that the shorter videos are getting more bang for the buck, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And while I understand that the minutes won't break down, we'll figure it out. And I guess what we're asking for now is basically a holding place for $7,500 a month for the next 6 months, and then it's going to be the thing that's weird about it is Siren can't get 100%. Totally involved in this yet with Scroove, because they're still doing their the 2-month assessment plan. And again, just with everything that's going on between the Metrotimes Blowout, the Rock and Rides Clay and Glass, the things that we're going to talk about in a minute about Uber and Lyft and promoting that, We're gonna go, the progress on the Henry Ford building, this new city hall opening, the police department, opening, the progress on the Singh building. Sean and I have another meeting yet this week, with somebody in another form of media that we're gonna vet a little bit, and might be bringing to the table next month. All for the spring and summer and just going after it hard. And I use the analogy, in the past, I use a baseball analogy where the two outfielders are playing and who's gonna catch the fly ball. And sometimes lately, because we've been so cautious, I think we've let the fly ball drop in between. And I think what we're going for now is we're gonna catch every fly ball, and the outfielders may bump into one another once in a while, but they're not gonna crush one another. They're not gonna knock one another out. And basically, that's what we're going for.
So, just to ask a few questions. I mean, I love this idea as a professional marketer. What I want to make sure of is that I get the fluidity you need with having the videos, and they might be 1 minute, they might be 3 minutes. I'd like to make sure that we're all on the same page in terms of calendarizing what we want to talk about, or the types of things we want to talk about. I also want to make sure we aren't totally, I want to bump into the city a little bit too, but I want to make sure that they're also agreeing that they find some value from this as well, because it doesn't help us if we're not all sitting on the same page of utilizing all these assets to help promote the city.
And not only that, but what to make this effective is that we need everybody, all the stakeholders involved to be promoting as well.
I agree.
Even if it's not their own genre or their own business. In other words, if we do something on Ridley's Comedy Castle, we need the city promoting it, we need the downtown to
Right.
promote it, we need the restaurant association promoting it, the retailers promoting it, everything we can. In other words, every time, look, these guys are gonna create the content, okay? We gotta get it out there.
Exactly.
And I like the idea. In fact, Tyler and Kenny are here right now. This is Tyler and Kenny Lindsay. If you guys wanna come up and introduce yourselves real quick. Maybe say something
Tyler
about
Lindsay.
yourself.
I'm Kenny Lindsay. Happy to answer any questions you guys have.
Well,
Definitely.
I would go with what Jen said. Is there, I like the idea of maybe setting out a rough, 6-month schedule.
That's
of-
exactly how we would like to do it. We'd like to sit down with Siren and Sean and anybody else interested and break the economic sectors down appropriately, say how many industries we want to cover within the sector, and schedule those out through the 6 months the best we can up front. We know things change, and some of those will be substituted for event coverage. You guys are talking about investing in all these great events like the Blowout, and we have the Arts, Beats, and Eats, and these holiday things. There'll be pivoting points where rather than covering this industry, we'll go do a big event coverage sort of thing. But I agree, a template over the next 6 months that we at least have a track record, and whoever's going to be involved has a loose heads up of what's going to be done when. I think that really optimizes the success of this.
Yeah, and I think we just need some eyeballs on where we're gonna promote it, how, get City of Royal Oak to promote it, get the farmer's market to
100%.
promote it.
And we're happy to be
100%.
involved in any of that. We really want to work even closely with Siren on the marketing side, make sure that these videos are being promoted directly to the consumers in the area and the other businesses, and that everybody's aware of what's out there so it can be shared and as front of in many eyes as possible.
And there are plans for them to meet with all the restaurant association, with the chamber, with the farmer's market, with everybody out there. So that they get to know them, and everybody, the way this is gonna be successful is if everybody supports it.
Right.
As a group. And in other words, if everybody realizes, I hate to sound trite and cliche, but all for one and one for all.
I
that's-
agree. I think we need transparency in all those
100%,
discussions
yeah.
too, because we all can't be there. As you guys, I come from the agency world. Notes matter, and they help people stay on the same page, so it'd be helpful, I think, to all of us, even the consumer marketing committee, to make sure that we think those are the right elements
Absolutely.
to get our own residents. And even, I see some of these things that you've produced being shared by residents easily.
That's the goal, because if
That's
we can
the
get
goal.
their seal of approval on their page, it kind of breaks down that barrier of the city level to now the personal level, and I think that can be really powerful.
Yeah.
And again, this is driven and coming out of the business marketing committee, but this is just as much consumer marketing committee
Yeah.
involvement as anything that we do. 100%.
And I will say from the amount being paid for all the content you're creating is reasonable from my personal perspective.
Just to give you an idea, when we went through it, of course, Jay Dunstan still sits on the business marketing committee, and I'm just going to tell a real quick story. When they'd given us a sort of a cafeteria style plan of this much, and Jay looked at it and saw what they had, and and I give these guys credit, they're obviously young guys. They went out there and produced two very nice videos at of course, their own expense. I mean, we weren't going to put anything out in front. Jay looked at it and saw the video, and the first thing he said was, "I want it all." And then he texted later in the day that he had taken it back to the Suncoast and showed some of the guys around, and he said some of them wanted to talk to the Scrooge guys about some work there, and I said, well, if we get everything approved here, they start with us first. They don't go there, so. But I thought that was.
Yeah, Mid-Coast, yeah.
Yeah, Mid-Coast, I always call it Suncoast. I don't know. So that's
Any
what my
other
head is.
questions, or?
Just as my own personal commentary, when you mentioned promoting the different events we have going on downtown, I would say you don't need to promote Arts Precincts. He gets plenty of money from us already, and
Sure.
he does his own promotion. He doesn't help the downtown retailers at all.
Yeah.
We can,
Absolutely.
I think the committee can meet with you and discuss
They do that.
the highlights and everything else as we move forward, and there could be a plan of action put forward. There's so many things here, we're not gonna get them all anyway.
Exactly.
I mean, we're talking about the library, and we're talking about, it's
There's
just
lawns.
so many things, so
Everything that's going on, and
Right.
then we're gonna get, and look, we're gonna go with the 6-month contract, and look, the hopes are that we are running to the table to renew something
Right.
with these guys and keep these going, but,
Do you have any issue working with like outside, so as my badge was showing, you should have told me, I was on, I was like, oh gosh. Henry Ford is gonna promote the heck out of this building too, taking some of that too and utilizing that kind of content. I mean, you have no problems utilizing other people's content to help build
I mean, no, as far as I'm
a better
concerned,
package.
The more people and more content involved, the more we have to work with. I mean, more is better.
Great, okay.
anything else?
I'll just add one more thing. They do have an office in downtown, so they are very accessible. They've also indicated a willingness to attend, meetings with downtown stakeholders along with me. Regularly meet with me when I have my monthly meetings with the Chamber, Restaurant Association, other major stakeholders downtown too. So I'm optimistic that they'll be really plugged in to
Good.
everything
Great.
that we're doing. So.
Thank you. Okay. If nothing else, there is a suggested resolution before us.
I'll move the resolution.
I have a motion to approve the resolution
Support.
and a support. Any other questions or comments? If not, I will call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Okay. Item number 11, Ridesharing Promotion. This came out of the Consumer Marketing Committee also. Sean, do you want to handle this?
Yeah,
or-
I can handle this. So the Consumer Marketing Committee, at its most recent meeting, recommended that the DDA establish a promotional code and/or voucher to incentivize ride-sharing trips into downtown Royal Oak. So this would include such companies as Lyft and Uber, and I have spoken to them both in the past week, just to ensure that what we're expecting to do is actually feasible, and it definitely is. So what came out of the committee meeting were some conditions for it. So the committee recommends that the DDA cover 20%, up to $5 for any ride into downtown Royal Oak, so it would cover arrivals only. And it would then also have a cap of $2,500 a month. So we also talked about actually geo-fencing off the central business district so that anyone coming into the downtown, that code would apply. And I think we determined that the best would be a 0.2 mile radius from the intersection of Main and Third. It seems to be a pretty good center point when you draw a radius like that. It encompasses, I think, like 99% of the central business district that's in the DDA. So in order to promote this, we would rely on definitely our partners downtown. We rely on our PR firm. We'd rely on, companies like Scroove. We would also work with downtown businesses to have them push out that promotional content to all of their customers as well. So, and with that, we have a resolution
Okay.
to approve.
Can I just?
Questions first.
I was just gonna add a little flavor to that. The reason our committee thought that covering up to $5 worth, and keeping it at 2,500, it becomes a little evergreen by doing it that way. So we always know so in some months, we may have a lot of business, and we don't necessarily have to go past that 2,500 mark, but there are gonna be months that we don't have a lot of business. So we just thought doing this 20% up to $5 was a way to keep this all year round and not be a burden on the budget.
Question.
Yeah, just, I think this is a phenomenal idea, and I think this is like, when you look at all the different stuff that we're doing in terms of promotion, you need something to drive your stake into the ground and to really like give some meat and some sizzle. And this to me is the sizzle. And in saying that, I'm thinking I would like to just go for it and not cover 20%, cover $5 off the ride. In other words, so to get the full $5, I mean, you're talking a $25 ride, which, and that's a pretty, I mean, unless you're getting some kind of, unless you're surgeon, that's a pretty long ride. And the people that we want to get are the people who might be going, to Ferndale, to Berkeley, to whatever. And I mean, I take Lyft all the time, and I've got a lot of, $7, $8, $9, $10 rides. And so for, if it's an $8 ride, it's $1.60. Is that going to get me here? $5 gets me here. $5, that's a free app. That's a free beer. That to me is attractive, and it's a lot clearer than the 20%. In other words, you don't want the people to start doing the math. I'm just saying. I think it's a phenomenal idea, but I think we're cutting ourselves short.
I think while it's written this way, it seems confusing. We were promoting it as up to $5.
No, I'm saying just do it $5 off.
Yeah, but then you
That's what we did last time, right?
That is what we did last time.
Yeah.
That's what we did last time. So now we're making it less than what we did the last time.
So when we did it last time, did we run into the cap, the $2,500 cap?
No.
We never met it.
Look, I would hope that we blow the cap out of the water. I really would. That means it's working. That means we're getting people here. I mean, if for us to spend, and we don't have to do this full time, we have to commit to it for, I would say spring and summer and through that, but heck, I mean, if we're giving $5 for every person that we're getting into downtown, yes, some of them were coming anyway, we are going to get promotional value out of this. We are going to get press. We are going to get promotion out of this, right?
I would agree.
I'll ask you guys a question. Can you guys promote the heck out of this? I mean, is this something, and I hate to say this, but you guys are younger, is this something that would resonate with the younger crowd?
Yeah, I mean, we talk, a lot of our peers, it's no secret, a lot of people are going downtown Detroit, and the big thing is they're like, well, $15 Uber versus, you know, $6 down the street, I'll spend the extra whatever to go downtown Detroit. But if you can mitigate that gap, $5 it is, if people our age, that's a free beer, you know, exactly like Matt said. I think that taking the math out of it, like $5 off my ride, it makes that decision a lot easier.
And if we get into a situation where it's, I can't really see where it's costing us too much. If it's costing us too much, that means we're wildly successful at what we're doing, that it's that good of a promotion. I just think if we're gonna do it, let's do it. And I mean, I hate to say it, but we've got the money in the budget.
If we do, I think that was our only concern, was
Yeah.
that we were, I'd be okay with moving that back up to 5 then.
Okay, and I really think, and again, I think this is something that whether it's the Free Press, the news, 247, whatever, I think this is something that they pick up and that we give to Siren, and we say, look, this is, I mean, blast this thing out there. And I think, you know, and again, just making sure that we've got the geo, what did you call it, the geo fence?
geofence.
The geo fence.
They
is
set
set
that up, yeah.
Yeah, they set that up,
Right.
and if we can do it with both of them, great,
That's not that money.
No.
great. I mean.
They're willing to work with us on that, and, you know, they're able to set that up with just the $5 off, as we've done it before with Lip. The change here is we would also include Uber, and we have a lot more promotional avenues this time around
Yep.
that I think it would be.
Well, that's the thing. The reason we never hit the cap last time is we didn't have the promotional wherewithal to get it out there. Like I said, I want to hit the cap.
So if you hit the cap, that's only 500 rides.
Yeah, well, I mean, we have to cover it no matter what. I mean, it's, you know, I don't think it's gonna get to the point, you know, I mean, if it's 5,000 a month and you're getting 1,000 rides a month at 250 a week, that's great.
It directly impacts mostly the restaurant association. Maybe they should help us pay for it. It's a restaurant bar thing. Uber
With-
one night. It
well-
says even right here. This includes popular entertainment, dining, and nightlife destinations. So it's not a daytime thing, it's a nighttime event. So you're only segmenting one market for one promotion.
Well, no, I don't think, well, at least in the business marketing committee, we did not talk about we did not talk about it being nighttime only.
Well.
We talked about it being all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, in
Correct.
my conversations with Lyft and Uber, I was specific in having it be a 24/7
Yeah.
rolling promotion.
Yeah.
But Uber and Lyft for Royal Oak is almost exclusively. a
Well, there's,
nighttime.
I'm not sure how to answer that, I mean, except for
Well, it's
the
just a
fact.
fact.
Well, and,
That's fine,
Yeah.
just it's promotion for the restaurant. And so if it gets that big, maybe they can help us out. That's all I'm saying.
okay.
I would agree. You could do a co-opt,
I mean, if it got to that point.
if it
maybe.
got to that point. But again,
Like I said, that, I would love to be sitting here in July going, oh my gosh, we spent $10,000 on Uber and Lyft last month. That would be great. That'd be a healthy problem, and we'd figure it out.
I would agree.
So I have, go ahead, Mr. Keller.
Just general comment, I appreciate the recommendation, but I don't think I'm inclined to support it. I understand where the marketing committee is coming from, but from my standpoint, as the city manager at this point, I see this as being money that's being taken away from the parking system. And above and beyond that too, I mean, I get ride sharing, 2 of my kids are constant Uber and Lyft all the time. I get it, but at the same time, ride sharing is not the answer for all the issues in the city of Royal Oak. Anecdotally, I hear from the police department, maybe it's a small minority of ride sharing and Uber and Lyft drivers, but ride sharing can cause its own problems for the central business district. So again, I respect the recommendation. I think if we're interested in incentivizing people coming to downtown Royal Oak, there are other ways to do it, whether it's a parking validation system or something like that, but.
Okay. So whichever way we decide to go here, am I understanding this right, that we're talking about lifting the cap?
No, I
Or
don't think.
keeping the cap?
Well, I mean,
And I'm not sure logistically how that works. When it gets to a certain
Yeah,
point, it just
that-
cuts off?
Yeah, it just turns off. I think
Okay.
that's the whole point of this. If it's wildly successful, we've gotten 500 people, or if we keep it back at the recommendation of 20% of up to $5, we've done our duty of incentivizing people into downtown Royal Oak.
So, okay, so I'm just trying to think how you promote this, because you can't go out and promote it and say $5 off, and then all of a sudden somebody goes for it and it doesn't work.
But it turns off that's the point of this, is that you
So
promote it till
again,
the cap.
So how do you, well, so how,
20% off your Uber ride.
I would, but again, I would just go,
Be small print, the 20.
I see what you're, I mean, I see both sides of it here. I
no,
see
I'm just
what we're
wondering,
trying
I'm
to
wondering, if you,
achieve here.
I mean, to me, it's being, and I'm not gonna use that term, but I just think,
Disingenuous?
no, not disingenuous, and I don't wanna use I was gonna say it's almost like being like Pennywise and Dollar foolish, in other words, to have it to the point where all of a sudden, like, if I'm a consumer and you've promoted the heck out of this, that I'm getting this, and then all of a sudden it's the 24th of the month,
And we run out of money.
and I call an Uber, and I get there and I say, well, what about my thing? Where's my discount? And they're like, oh, so it's shut off. I mean, how does that work?
So,
Then you've turned a promotion into a huge negative.
no, I agree with that.
That's like going to a restaurant and getting, you eat all the crab legs you can, and then you get the bill, and it's like, it's $150, dude. Sorry, that was the first 100 pounds. You can't be late.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, I understand everybody's points, and the parking thing is a great thing. However, I think right now in the situation that we're facing, and in order to increase downtown traffic, I just think that $5 off the rides, and
So if we really.
we can look at it on a monthly basis. How about that? I mean, we're going to be sitting here.
I would agree.
Sean, the thing about it last time, the best thing about it last time is we get immediate statistics, correct?
Yeah.
But like almost, like you can get them all throughout the day, correct?
Yeah, so Lyft will give you statistics, I think, at the end of every week. Uber actually provides you a dashboard, so you can actually see it in real time.
Like real time?
Yeah.
So we can sit down at a meeting, and we can monitor it and see how it's going.
I don't think
So
parking's
I'm
our
gonna-
issue because we have so many parking
No,
structures.
but Director Gillum made the point that it's taking from the parking.
No, but
So-
you keep saying we have a parking issue, we don't
I
have.
didn't say that.
No, he's saying bring traffic into downtown.
No, I'm just saying, but Director Gillum made a very good point that this is hurting the parking fund.
Right.
That was his point.
So let's talk about parking then. I mean, I didn't want to bring up parking, but if you really wanted to increase traffic into downtown, we should really be talking more about our free parking and moving it past 5 o'clock.
We've talked about that before.
That's a bigger, I know we
If we
brought
could,
that up.
if we can stay on the topic that's in front of you with a recommendation, from a practical standpoint, I need a budget and a time period.
Maybe this should go back
It
to
can't be
committee.
an open-ended, and the recommendation from the committee is $2,500 through the remainder of the fiscal year. If you want to look at it every month,
We can shoot.
that's something else you could do with it. But again, you do have a committee recommendation, and somebody may want to just make a motion and not to move it on, but make a motion as to what you want to do and see where it goes.
And I don't think we're getting off topic by talking about parking and taking it away from the parking fund or talking about bringing traffic in. They're all interrelated, so.
You
I
want to
think
make a
there's a
recommendation,
bigger
bring it
com-
back to committee?
I do. I want to make the recommendation that we bring this back into the committee and open it up.
I'll support that.
Okay.
With looking at it in terms of the cap and in terms of the, the $5 versus 20%. And again, I'm just going from, I think, and I'll just say it again, I think if we're going to do it, we should do it right. And again, we shouldn't be afraid to jump in the water.
Oh, I- But to Tim's point, we were asked to give a dollar amount so that we
Right.
do have a
Sure.
monthly fund, that we know what we're hitting or not hitting, and if it's successful or not successful. So I think, again, I think there's a lot of solutions that we could bring to the table,
Right.
that this is just not fully baked yet at this point.
Fine. I mean,
Okay,
and then I'll say that.
Let me go.
So we'll get it back,
Timeline-wise.
we'll get it back to the table and say like March?
Yes.
And I think that's fine, because I think we really want to get all our
Right.
ducks in a row and really hit the ground running with all of these programs for the spring
Yep.
and summer.
And just my comment is if you can bring the data that we did use before to see the times and everything and to have a meaningful discussion in the committee, I think it would be useful.
And just keep in mind, and I can't remember if we had a time frame on that or not in terms of when it was, but I know there were certain drop-off areas and we didn't have the good promotion. And I'll just say it one more time, that if we're promoting it right and it's working, I mean, that's what we want. I mean, the last thing we want to do is promote it and get it out there and we're spending $400 a month on it because it's not working.
Okay, I think this is the prudent action for us to do, is to send it back to committee and make sure that all the directors, Director Gillum, Director Riley, Director Lockwood's comments are taken into consideration at the committee level when this discussion gets taking place. So I think this is the best way to handle this. So I do have a motion to send it back to committee.
Second?
And we have a second. If there's no further discussion, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? And the motion passes. Okay. Item number 12, worry-free.
The Infrastructure Committee discussed several items at its February 4th meeting. The first item is not an added cost item. It was a discussion of the flower design for the raised planter beds throughout downtown, as well as the design of the flower arrangements for the hanging baskets. The committee did make a recommendation to worry-free, and I should point out that the handout that I passed out today is their map and plan for how they would propose that occur. We received that this afternoon. But basically, to break it down by the planter beds, in your packet, you'll see there are some 6 different design configurations that they submitted to the committee. The committee recommended that all of the designs are fine. They simply would like to see a single design at each corner of an intersection, meaning if there are 4 planter beds on the corner of Main and Second, they should all be the same design. And that 6 of those could be changed throughout the downtown and planter areas. So you'll see that is the handout is how they, worry-free was recommending that occur to meet that objective. The second item was in regards to the hanging baskets. And initially, the hanging basket proposal that was in front of the committee had a variety of flowers proposed for the hanging baskets on a street segment. The committee asked worry-free to go back and look at putting the same flowers along the entire length of a particular street segment, meaning if along Main Street they were going to use a certain flower, it should be the same bright, dark color flower for the entire street to get more punch for it. So again, as part of the handout today, I believe it's on the back of the what I handed out, you'll see the hanging baskets, you'll see the street segment, and the variety of flower that worry-free is proposing for each one of those. That is not an added cost item in the sense of purchase of plant materials are part of your current contract with worry-free. But I would like, and the committee is recommending that if you're comfortable with what they're recommending and the layout, that we just handed out today, then I'd look for a resolution to approve the committee's recommendation in that regard. And I'll stop there because I think the other items are, we'll take each one on its own.
Okay. Okay. So just to add to Mr. Twain, to summarize here, well, when we looked at this at the Infrastructure Committee, Mr. Creer is not here, so we liked all the designs that Worry Free had put forth, but it was the committee's thought that when there was a multitude of areas at one specific spot, that the design should be all the same in that one area. There shouldn't be a different design for 4 different boxes all in one area. In terms of the hanging basket, what we thought was important was, we also did, Mr. Twain didn't mention, but there was a chart full of colors that were given to us. We picked, I think, 3 or 4 of those colors as some of the brighter, more vibrant colors that we thought would appear better along the streets, and we thought that in terms of the hanging basket, instead of mixing and matching, that they would look better as a uniformed type of thing. So that essentially summarizes it, and that was what our recommendation was.
Just out of curiosity, in the past, did we just have like a hodgepodge at every intersection?
Yeah. Yeah.
I know this is gonna be a silly question, but
Well, they did have a design at every intersection.
There was a
but it
design, but
different-
they were different designs.
They were different.
Yeah.
just out of curiosity, are these file pictures or is that just artwork?
Photoshopped.
They're photoshopped in.
Oh, they're Photoshop,
Yes.
okay. I was gonna say, these look good.
So, with regards to, my computer had to shut down for whatever reason.
You can cheat off
So
of me.
I'm cheating off of Matt. But the picture of the big 4 planters that have multiple colors, I mean, is there a thought that those would all just stay multicolored, or would we have one color on that street as well? And then are you also tying in the color of the hanging basket into the designs of the planters at all? So the color flower? So then you'd really.
Second question would be no, there's no correlation between the raised planter boxes and the hanging baskets on that street.
Okay.
The raised planter boxes are gonna be a multitude of different designs, so I don't know how you match a multitude of flowers and hanging
Gotcha.
baskets.
But there'll be a multitude of, they'll look like this, so all 4 on the corner will look like this with
Yes,
multiple,
correct.
which looks great.
And I believe the ones along Sherman Drive are gonna be the solid color, that was part of the proposal. And you'll see on the design.
I would just have concern, the only concern I would see from one of these is the sunflowers. That planter, if that's a option that we're thinking of. Sunflowers, just people walking by are gonna potentially will be more destructive to that. Yes. While it's
They're a
pretty,
target.
they're a target. Sorry.
They are.
I have teenage boys. I know this would not survive.
Although I think that, if I'm reading this right, that would only be at 5th and Washington, at one location.
Again, by Pagos
Yeah.
and by Proving Grounds. So,
Gotcha.
not far from a lot of kids congregating areas. So, that's all.
So
Just-
is it the motion for all of this, right?
Yes.
I would move to approve. Looks good to me.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Director Riley, seconded by Director London. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And that motion passes. Next one, Tim?
The next item is in regards to 2 islands that are proposed on South Main Street. Those islands are going to be put in the summer of 2020, so this summer. The Infrastructure Committee has talked about, and the DDA talked about planning those islands. and also providing electrical service out to one of those islands, the bigger one. The islands are basically between the railroad tracks and 6th Street and the railroad tracks and 7th Street, with the smaller one between 7th and the railroad tracks. There is a cost there of some $12,530 that the committee is recommending in terms of planting that design. There's an additional estimate towards the end from getting electrical service out there of another $9,300. That's an estimate, because we're not sure exactly where that service would come from and how we would get it there at this point. But the committee is recommending that you provide that electrical service out there as well. If it's under that dollar amount, we would continue and proceed if you approve this. If it's over it, we'd bring it back to you before we authorized its installation.
Is that for both North Main and for the one right at 696? When I say North Main, I
No,
mean,
this is just for the two that are proposed in front of you,
these are just the two new ones.
or two new ones.
Okay. And we talked about doing anything down at the 696?
In terms of electrical?
In terms of lighting, yeah.
Well, I think we had in the past, and I think we discovered that it was
I'd have to go back.
not
and look, but I don't-
available
I don't
at that
remember.
time. I'm pretty sure that we,
Plus, I think you have more, do you have more light down there?
They're wider down there.
Yeah, yeah.
But
yeah.
you also have the new structure down there, so that will give a little more
There'll be a
light.
ton of light down there. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
I think these are beautiful, the ones at 696 are beautiful. But looking at that, I thought, I wonder how it's gonna affect our parade route, right in the middle of our parade route.
You know, I think that was actually mentioned before by somebody. I wasn't sure.
But I do think it's beautiful, and it will
Yeah.
slow traffic down, hopefully it'll help the
And this-
senior
Yeah,
citizens.
because that
the
is
Right.
gonna
centers by
hit
there.
Lincoln. Right.
This is consistent with what we've done
Right,
at 696 in Woodward.
It's gorgeous.
And by the hotel, so.
but kind of messes up our parade route.
Yeah, I think there's gonna be some discussion about the parade route and everything else too coming up, but, pretty soon.
Might be moved to
So
Washington.
we may have to, figure some things out there, but anyway, anything else on this though, Tim?
Just if you're supportive of motion to approve proceeding.
And it's
And-
approving,
and-
it's
and
approving
it
both the
will-
electrical and the.
And
The building
the
of
purchase and installation
Of
of
the
the
flowers.
of the flowers and trees.
I would move to approve that.
Okay,
I'd
motion by
second.
Director Riley,
Second.
second by,
For clarity, this is part of next fiscal year.
Correct.
So you'll get it in next fiscal year's budget. We may have more detail on the electrical service and where it's coming from. So we're not gonna start this until after July, because the islands won't be in. We just wanna put worry-free on notice to buy the stuff, start getting ready for it, that they're gonna have to do it, so.
okay, so I do have a motion by Director Riley and a second by Director Rosbeck. If there's nothing else, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? And the motion passes. And the third part of this?
The last part of this is you'll recall at the south end of Main Street at the service drive along the east side of South Main, there's a very large landscaped area. The irrigation system in that has not been working, and we've asked Worry Free to look at restoring that and putting it back into utilization. And they've given us a dollar amount, and if I can get down to it. They've given us a dollar amount for 9 zones to be reinstalled, and for that area of $8,600. It's property that's owned by the Michigan Department of Transportation. It's under a maintenance and use agreement with the city and DDA. Worry Free is currently mowing it. So if you're interested in restoring the irrigation there, that would be a motion to approve that dollar in contract.
Since I have nothing close to a green thumb, what are the negatives if we don't? If we don't irrigate it, I mean, you just run the risk of having to resod.
Pretty dry and die out.
Yeah, it'll die. And since we got a new project down there and.
Yeah, it's across from the.
Yeah.
And Singh is gonna landscape their side pretty heavily on
Yeah.
that stretch.
Yeah. Is that where, are they still, Tim, are they still going on the, east side of the building? Are they still going with any kind of a water feature?
I don't really think there's a water feature in there. There's some artwork and there's, a lot of landscaping, plant material, paving, walkway.
Yeah.
Lighting.
So we should have it look nice.
Is there any thoughts about turning this into a more sustainable area where we would not have grass and maybe put in more environmentally friendly things? It could still look nice, but at least, as we talk about climate change and things like that, having plants or something else that don't need a lot of watering might be a similar cost, and we don't have to pay for an irrigation system, but just a thought.
Yeah, it would seem to me, I mean, you got the, welcome to Royal Oak sign right there. The last thing you want is the grass looking like all get out, so.
Right.
It's right by the freeway, so it's a beautiful area right now with the flowers there too.
And we spent how much on flowers and how much on that sign. We should
Right.
at least make sure the grass looks good.
I agree.
So I would move to approve.
I'll support.
A motion to approve and support.
Not discounting what you said, though.
No,
I
I'm not.
agree.
No,
Now, the
it
question would
makes
would
sense,
MDOT allow it? The next question.
Yeah.
It's not an area for a playground too close to the freeway.
Exactly.
Yeah, we wouldn't want a playground.
You don't like kids, yeah.
Okay, nothing else on that one, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Okay. Item 13.
Well, the DDA has been discussing doing a test installation of smart lights, smart decorative lights, in particular with Intel systems, for I'm going to say a couple of years. What you have in front of you is a proposal to install basically 10 test lights that would replace the standard decorative sidewalk lights with lights, or with a system that will have a variety of components to it, including the ability to have spotlights that change color and light the sidewalk different colors. The proposal would have camera system in it, and displays of various types, so you could monitor the street. You could change it all through a cloud-based system, so that the lights would function in different colors and different things at different times. The infrastructure committee looked at it, and the proposal was to do a test along 2nd Street, from 2nd and Main to the alley. So there would be 2 lights on each corner at Main and 2nd, and then lights at the intersection with the alley. Part of this thought at the committee level was that if you didn't go any further and you spent the money on these lights at this location, they would be a lead in to the new park through the passageway to between the deck and the new Henry Ford building. And if you didn't go any further with them, you could leave them here and and go no further if they didn't do what you were expecting. The total estimated cost on this for materials and operation is $97,494.
This is just. for
We would
the-
still have to bid it out to have someone install it. But before we go any further, I wanted to make sure the board was in concurrence with the committees.
So it looks like it has a speaker as well.
Pardon me?
It has speakers?
Yes.
A couple questions. And this is, that quote is for material only, just for this area.
Well, it's got materials in it, shipping in it, and it has a monthly fee going forward for the cloud-based system to operate.
So that's
Through your
basically the
phone.
cloud, that's not, does that include maintenance on the ground or no? Or just in the cloud? Okay, and then, so these, just so I understand, these lights would go in place of our existing streetlights?
The decorative ones, yes, the ones that you see right out in front of City Hall here, if you look out the window.
Well, but basically, we're in Second Street there, basically like the ones that, for lack of a better term, the ones that we had the garlands wrapped on.
That's correct.
Okay, all right. Now, did we hold a place in the budget?
Pardon me?
Did we hold a place in the budget for lighting anywhere?
Yes.
And it was it on the street, I'm just reminding you, was it on the streets or was it the alley project or both?
Well, you've got several. The alley's gonna come up under the next one. You've got about 3.8 million held in a one for various activities, some of which you'll be talking about today, so.
So this here is basically,
Well, this here is basically an approval of the concept to go forward. Like I said,
Correct.
if we would still go out and get a bid for an electrician to actually do the work. And depending on what you do with a couple items later in the agenda, we may bid it all as one package to do all the electricity at once. Or if you approve, we may do them separately.
the $1 million question probably is, has anybody looked to determine from what the infrastructure committee originally planned, if this works and we like it, of where it's gonna go throughout the city, times what are we looking at to do the whole city?
Exactly.
Before we commit $100,000 to do this, if it's gonna be $4 million to do the whole city, well, that's a non-starter.
Or is this going into the park and this is lighting that's gonna be used in the park?
Well, I think that's why they're putting.
The park hasn't been decided.
Yeah, but the reason that the infrastructure committee chose this was that if we decide just to leave it here, at least it serves a function as a lead into the park, which I.
Because originally, we had talked about 2 other locations in the city, and then we came back to this location. And to answer the first part of your question, is, yes, in truth, the original proposal was for multiple locations throughout the city, and we really wholeheartedly said, no, we're not gonna do that. It was a grand financial amount, and we wanted to scale it back because we didn't know if we were gonna like them. We didn't know if they were gonna serve the purpose. We did see some testing they do. You can set these lights up to shine on the sidewalks. They can change colors on a daily basis, on an hourly basis. We can change them for a particular holiday or not. They also can be directed to building facades. So those were some of the things that were discussed at the
Can they
meeting.
display logos on building facades or do like BOGOs?
That I don't know. That one I'm.
No. Is there,
They have the directional spotlights that change color. That's all real time that you would change via an app or your desktop. You can program music, PSAs through the speakers, what have you. It's also got, security camera features on it as well. There's a few other bells and whistles on it.
is there another city that has these in there that, we can look at and?
Yes, they'll do it. They'll provide you the tour. We've seen the website. The camera system itself you can log into and live watching people wander by if you want.
How secure is all of that, too? I mean,
It's a standard cloud base and IT, it depends on where you decide to send to run it and who you give access to.
well, I agree, right.
Is the police department having the monitor? Is that who has this? We'll have the,
It's not intent to be a security
CCT.
system.
oh, it's not intended to be a security system. So let's say there was a big fight going on in Main Street, will these cameras turn on to videotape it or
Well,
no?
they're gonna be on all the time.
But you'd have to log in to
So
see it.
who's logging in? The city manager, not the police department?
24/7.
He'd be the one,
It depends on who we
asked for
give
Like
the
a casino.
And I'm
video.
just saying, so let's say something's going live, or let's say there's a shooter, you can't have the police department redirect those cameras.
You could,
If we give the police department the code, then they'd be
Yeah,
able to.
then they have the ability to.
It's got the
yeah.
ability.
but that wasn't it.
That wasn't the
Intent.
intention.
Yeah.
Well, to answer your earlier question,
Yeah.
there are 526 of these, of our decorative lights downtown.
Mm-hmm.
So if you wanted to replace every one of those, you can multiply 10 by this number.
So it'd be 5,200,000. Thank you. It's
crazy.
So you're not gonna do it all.
Right.
Question, the infrastructure committee, have you seen these in action?
Was that the one we saw?
Over at Intel Systems, yes.
Oh,
we've
they
seen-
saw it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And does it have a wow factor?
It depends on what you're looking for as a wow factor.
Well,
And that's why we were doing a test.
Yeah, well, but it's a $100,000 test. Yeah, exactly. $5,000 test, I'd be all in on. $100,000 test, I'd hate to spend $100,000 and go, there's no wow here, there's no sizzle.
Is there a city around here that we could go?
I don't think,
See.
No.
thought we asked that question.
East
In
Lansing.
other words, I guess,
They
because
have them
I'm,
on Michigan State University campus. I think Auburn Hills has a few of them.
There you go.
Could be East Lansing.
well, then, there's, for example, like if, on St. Patrick's Day, they can turn them all green, and it looks really cool. But if it's just like, a little green light, I mean, well, we can go and get light bulbs, and we'll just, heck, I'll change them out for $75,000.
Right.
I guess I don't get the purpose. If the purpose isn't security, what's the
Well,
purpose?
just to interject, I think part of the discussion, a small part of the discussion is where are we heading with tree lighting and the cost of tree lighting every 3 years and so forth, which you've all seen what those expenses are.
This issue keeps coming up, and it keeps coming up by the committee.
It does,
To
yes.
look at these. I would be more than happy to set up a tour or a visit to the Intel factory, and whoever wants to go can go, because I'd either like to put this to bed,
Okay.
I'd like to do the test, because it keeps coming back to staff to do something else with it, and we're spending a lot of time on this. And I don't mean to be, but it either needs to do a test, or let's drop it and quit wasting time on it, and getting calls from the vendor wanting to know what we're doing with it.
Just as a side note, Tim, just so everybody knows, we've already scheduled to change out the lights though, correct?
That's later in the agenda.
Okay.
Talk about this
I mean,
on the
okay,
agenda.
all right.
But Lori,
I'll wait.
I think I think one of the cool ideas of it truly can give you PSAs and you can play music on it. I mean, if we are really gonna commit to these holiday functions or that's a great use of something that we were kind of already talking about, that we can't count on maybe the parade having enough music. We can pipe in more music during these holiday seasons for
And
our
you could do
downtown.
one or two, you could do two at an intersection. I mean, you don't have to do
Yeah.
500 of them.
Correct.
Exactly.
Well,
You
But
can
the
pick
thought
a-
was to do a test and see if they even do what you want them to do, but.
You could pick an intersection, just pick
well,
four.
here's, and again, if I put my rational hat on here, I'm sitting here thinking, okay, we're talking about spending $97,000 to do this decorative light here.
Plus
In the
installation.
meantime, go 2 blocks away and the lights don't work at all. So where is our priority? And I know we're trying to fix that, but honestly, when you walk up and down 4th Street, it's embarrassing. I mean, it really is, how dark it is. And I know what the issues are, but I think that it sends a little bit of a wrong message when we're sitting here dallying
Gotcha.
with a little bit of sizzle when I mean, when the lights literally don't work.
Okay, so, here's what I'm proposing, that this is, number one, gonna go back to committee, but number two is there a flavor here within the DDA for Tim to set up a demonstration? If there's not, we'll send it back and we'll put it to bed. If you guys wanna see it, then we'll
I'm just trying to clear, what's the main objective of these lights then?
the main objection is.
No, not objection, objective.
Objective, okay. The main objective, my understanding is that they provide a different type of light source. They can provide music, they can provide cameras. They have multiple functions on them that can be used. And I think the intent at one point was to have them be in specific locations throughout the city, not the entire city, because we never would do that, but they would be in specific strategic locations throughout the city to be able to do what we want to do with them, you know. I think that was the original intent. Now, we don't have to do that. We're looking at, to be very honest, I know Mr. Twing's looking at some different types of lighting aspects to be used in the alleyway style that are just finished. Maybe those will be sufficient enough to use in other areas of the city also. So, I mean, there's no, you know.
I'd love to see what these lights do. They sound interesting.
Yeah, especially for the money, I mean.
I'd be willing to go to a.
I would as well.
I would go too, depending on what
Yep.
it was.
The last thing I'm gonna say on this, we've come up, over the last year with some really interesting and I think great lighting ideas. And it just seems like we're kind of swimming around a little bit here. Like at one time we were talking about, you know, stringing lights over, like I think it was over Fifth. That could possibly change colors based on, you know, if it's 4th of July, they're red, white, and blue. It's at Halloween, they're orange. We've talked about doing some really neat stuff with the alley and.
Stagecrafters? Yep.
This, but none are as costly as this. And this is.
Wait about 5 minutes.
What's that?
Wait about 5 minutes.
Okay.
But do you want to postpone this to next month? Rather than send it back to committee, because the committee's looked at it, the committee's giving you a recommendation. Do you want me to set up a tour of the facility?
Sounds that way.
Where's the facility?
Farmington Hills?
Oh, yeah.
I hate to.
9 Mile.
You know, it's not a staff-driven issue, it's,
Yes.
and if you guys
I mean,
want to do it,
If I'm in town, I will go.
Yeah.
well, all right,
Make
we'll
a-
do that. So we'll just postpone it until
Yeah.
March.
Yeah, I mean, for what's involved,
Set up
yeah,
a
and again, I
committee.
don't wanna take a $100,000 test challenge and find out that it's not.
I would agree.
Okay. Moving on. Item number 14, updates.
Again, as Mike has indicated, the Infrastructure Committee's been looking at 3 items that I put in here, and they're kind of in a, I'll take them, the smaller one first, is alley lighting. The committee has been talking about installing lights in the alley that's between the Henry Ford facility and between the parking deck and 11 Mile to 3rd, so that north-south alley that's been improved with stamped colored concrete. The committee has looked at putting simple lights that are LED lights that can change color, again, to light the alley depending on the event that might be planned there or the time of year. It could be red for Valentine's Day, it could be blue for, I forget what that's for, but it could be any color. But, so we've been going back and forth because the intent was to install these on the DTE utility poles. There's 4 north of 2nd and 4 south of 2nd. DTE has indicated they're willing to do that under a license agreement, but they want to know the type of light before they put the license agreement together. Not being a lighting expert, we've gone out and got bids for hiring a design firm. We got 4 bids back. We also asked them to provide a rough estimate of cost to install what they thought would meet the need under that. You'll see the 4 bids that were received there. The lowest bid for design services was some $3,500. The highest was almost $25,000 for design. The equipment range for actually doing it went from $55,000 to $129,000 roughly. What I would like in this regard is not, I guess, a discussion, and does the board want to select a firm to do the design? Based on cost, or and then we'd have the committee meet with that company and come up with a final design that would be presented. I'm not looking for you to authorize the actual equipment, but we've had a hard time trying to get it resolved, what we can do without an actual design, so.
And till now, nobody has met with any of these. This is just a bids.
Well, we had a
submitted.
mandatory
Was it an
walkthrough.
RFP?
No, it was a bid, had a mandatory walkthrough as far as what staff met with them to tell them what we were looking for.
Okay.
The committee's not met with them.
Okay.
They only came in, the committee, not time for the committee to meet with them. If you want the committee to meet with 1 or 2 of them, you can postpone this again. It's just going to delay getting it started for the summer, that's all.
So have we worked with any of them before?
Well, if you should eliminate the 3rd one for sure. It's the most
They're
expensive
all
to do.
local, but I can't, Illuminating Concepts is, I believe, the same one we're talking about with Intellistreets.
What's expensive?
Just way off.
That was the highest one.
If they're, I hate to say this, but it's just like,
They should meet, at least the top 2 should be met with
I think, for the sake of a month, I mean, you gotta meet with a couple of them. I mean, anybody can submit a bid, I'm sorry. And I don't mean to prolong anything, but.
Like to see their work.
I agree with Director London that you should at least grab 2 of them.
And the second one also includes installation, it sounds like.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. It says plus installation fee includes construction administration.
No, it says $2,600
Oh.
equipment and installation.
Oh, you're
fee.
right.
So it is the most affordable, it's the second one,
Yeah, I would probably go with,
first 2.
Again, these are design firms, and that goes back to my comment on the Intel lights on 2nd Street. With this concept in the alley with 2nd Street, we're gonna have to hire somebody to do the installation.
Sure.
So if part of putting all these 3 together, and the next one in a minute, is whether we do this all at one time and hire bid one firm, or bid one project for the whole thing, or we break it into component parts. So I'm trying to, and then I'm also trying to make sure the board's on supportive of these recommendations going forward, because they're, as you've indicated, not cheap.
right.
So I can have
All
the
these are
committee
cheap
look
with
at,
that
meet with
test.
the 2 low bidders for their design?
Yeah, I would say, I would think that's frugal.
We can do that.
Yeah.
The next part of this was in regards to the decorative light replacement, and this has been touched on slightly. I'd bring your attention to the map that's in your packet. We've inventoried all of the decorative lights that are in the CBD downtown area. This does not include those north of 11 Mile or south of Lincoln or east of Knowles that are on 11 Mile. Those are not part of this review. Those have all been put in. They're taller. They're a different type of light. But what you'll see there is an inventory of all those 526 lights based on several factors, whether they're sodium vapor, whether they're LED, whether they're the standard pole that we've been using for the last decade, or whether they're older than that, which I think most of you won't remember, but the DDA several years ago retrofitted the old style by cutting the tops off and putting a decorative globe on the top. So the poles in those cases are smaller, and the bases were plastic that were just screwed together to go around them. Those are deteriorating and falling apart. So what we've done to date is looked at all 526 of those. If you were to go by type of work and replace all the posts and globes that are old sodium vapor, there's about 271 of them roughly. Then there are some that just need the light replaced because they're sodium vapor. There's about 140 of those. And then there are some that just the post is old because some have been hit and knocked down, and when they get replaced, they've put LEDs on them, so there's about 10 of those. If you went with replacing all of the old posts, all of the old bases with the standard type post and base that we've been using for several years when we do new Streetscape now, and went with that type of reconfiguration and did it all at once. We also got an estimate of labor from one electrician. The materials themselves are about $993,000, $94,000 to do all of them. About another $100,000 in labor costs. So you're about 1.1 million. And you have budgeted money to do this project.
$1 million question again. That doesn't, all that is the cosmetics. We're still not into the infrastructure of the electrical.
You're not
underneath.
replacing the conduits and the underground lines on 4th Street that don't work. But that project's a separate project.
Right.
And it's
But
gonna be
just so I
done
understand,
totally separately under something else.
Some of these we're fixing to make look all nice and sweet, but they're not gonna work until we fix them.
Pardon me?
Some of these, we're going to change the posts and change the balls
The facade.
and change the lights, make them look all nice and sweet. The only thing is, they're not gonna work until we fix the infrastructure.
Well, and they may get done at the same time, because we're not going to be able to do this all at once. They're not going to manufacture all of these at once. They're gonna be lucky to get probably 20 of them a month. So this is gonna spread out over some time.
Okay.
And what I would suggest is probably that we don't do the ones on 4th Street until we fix the underground.
Which makes sense.
So it's a phasing of the actual work as we go forward. You'll recall that you've also funded replacing all of the old brick pavers in the downtown. And that project will be going forward next summer. So as we rip up the sidewalks, hopefully we can replace the conduits and the lines. So there's a lot going on.
In terms of priority.
That's gonna look nice.
I don't want to divert from the topic, but
Right.
I think, I mean, does everybody within the city and everything understand that the infrastructure and the lighting, the conduit is the priority? I mean, that is.
Yeah, but it's a much more detailed engineering project than, because you've got to design it, pull it up, fix this. I mean, there's more work involved in doing the design work for it than there is asking the contractor to.
Sure. No, I totally understand. I don't mean that this doesn't start until that's done, but I'm just saying, I guess I'm checking in. Are we making any progress on that? Or is
Yeah,
it-
they're all, like I said, they're scheduled. There's a lot of activity scheduled for this summer.
Okay. And we have budgeted for this, correct? And have we budgeted, well, it's probably gonna be, what would you say, like, let's call it $1.1 million, probably over 2 years? Does that sound correct?
Well, you've budgeted $1 million this fiscal year,
Okay.
and we probably wouldn't, I mean, you wouldn't
You're
spend
not
much
gonna
of
hit
that
that.
this year. We're gonna have to
Okay.
carry it out for next year, but we still, well, I've got an estimate of the labor for installation. We're still gonna have to bid that.
Sure.
We only have one
Sure.
supplier that supplies these lights, so.
And this is something that we've gotta do, and it's just sooner.
I mean, you got yellow lights and white lights.
I know,
and
and if anybody's seen any of the newer ones that have the white lights in them, it's a world of difference, a world of difference. And again, this isn't makeup in downtown, this is lipstick. I mean, this is the main stuff here. So I think this is.
There are other options to not doing everything.
Yep, but again, I think
It's important.
it's important, and it's also a safety factor as well. And I think we go ahead, and I think this is paramount, in my opinion.
I agree.
Well, the only thing I'm asking for today is to make sure that we're proceeding down the right path. It's gonna take a lot of work to put the rest of this together. I wanna make sure the board's still on board for spending $1 million and one.
Well, if we
towards this
budgeted $1
project.
million and.
Well, and it'll be over a couple of years, as you
Sure.
said.
Yeah,
So,
Yep. I'd rather lock it in and know that it's out there.
It's out there, yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, so what we'll probably do next then is bid out the actual labor for doing the total redo, rather than, you know, we could leave poles and just put globes on, and we could do a variety of things, but we'll put a bid together to do installation for all of it. We'll come up with a timeline and a budget for when it should be occurring and get it back to
I
you.
agree. Good.
Making notes, just give me 2 seconds.
Yeah.
The next item on the updates, because I didn't have revised numbers until Friday, I left it as an update. The map that you see on the thing in front of you, if you want to pull that up, it might be easier to talk about. The kind of pinkish fusion area here is the Henry Ford building. 2nd Street runs through here, up to, and then the parking deck is on the north of this. 3rd Street's down here with the WROK. The DDA has indicated they would like to have stamped colored concrete matching what's in the alley on this area of blue along 2nd Street to get into the parking deck. And that request has come from the board previously. What we've been working on is cost estimates and who's going to do the work between Colasani and/or Clark. Clark is the builder, construction manager for the Henry Ford building. We have not finished that because the Henry Ford and Clark continue to use it for their staging and storage area for the building. The estimate for the stamped portion of that to be completed is about $10,691 under Clark's, and they're lower than Colasani. So if the DDA still would like the stamped colored concrete to match, again, what's shown along the rest of the alley, I think there's a drawing of that in the next slide down. I would need the board to authorize that 10,691, because it's not coming from any other funding source to do it. The city isn't asking for it. It's not part of Henry Ford's proposal. What was contemplated to go in there was just simply a concrete surface roadway to entrance. So I'll stop with that one and see if there's any questions on it, because there'll be one more.
That's like, that's right, basically, like if you walked out the back of Brugger's there or whatever,
Right.
took a right, that's right there. So it's basically kind of like the walkway that people will use going towards the park and
And the
whatever.
structure.
Yeah, yeah.
It's important.
Yeah, if you were driving down the alley and you were to turn to go into the structure,
Yeah.
that's the area
Yeah,
that we're
got
talking
it,
about.
got it.
Yeah.
Now,
important
what I may bring back, because if Clark's doing the work, they may need an agreement between the DDA and the city for you to provide that funding. But I would like an indication today that whether you want, whether you're gonna fund it or not, or whether we gotta go back and tell them, no, just put in concrete.
No, I think we should go stamp I mean, I'm in favor of stamp concrete for 10,000 all day.
So am I.
Yeah.
Get a motion.
Transition area.
Yeah, 100%,
Okay.
Look how agreeable Matt and I are today.
100%.
Well, then, just for that matter, to move, I need a motion.
Oh, is there a motion?
No.
Move.
No.
No, I don't think it.
Move to
A move to
approve
approve.
installation of
Yeah,
stamp
move
color
to approve
concrete,
installation
provide
for
funding.
approximately $10,000 with Clark, right? We're going with Clark?
The cheap
Well,
bidder.
Yeah.
Motion to approve,
I second.
and second by Director London.
Yeah.
I like to see it. Okay,
Simple enough. The second one in
Why don't we
regards,
just get the vote here?
oh, sorry.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that motion passes.
The second one in regards to this is the area labeled 1A. It's kind of a purple color. And it is the north side of Third Street from the alley to Main Street. Currently, there is no streetscape in that segment of Third Street. At the end of the entire Civic Center project, when the park's done, this would be the only segment of Third Street that doesn't have streetscape done. The thought would be to have it done now
Figure that out.
or when, because Clark's bid was lower than Colasani's, would have them do the work. And then again, the DDA would pay the entire amount in this case, because it's not included with any other, and the DDA picks up the capital on it. Their estimate on doing the work that's broken out is $101,977.50.
This is just 1A or 1A and 1B?
1A.
And again, Tim, so this is, that's the alley, correct? What?
Alley
Yes.
is this north-south part.
Yes.
Third Street is here.
This is, oh, okay, hang on, go ahead, okay.
That'd be PNC, wouldn't it?
Yep, this
Yeah.
is the bank. This is
Wait,
the old
wait,
Skidova.
I'm lost, go back.
But the alley's right behind that building, correct? Right behind Henry Ford?
Yeah, this is Henry Ford.
Yep,
This is Third Street.
Where's
okay,
Alley's right.
City Hall is here.
yeah. Where's
The alley runs north-south here.
Oh, that's the alley, okay, so this is streetscape from the building all the way to the corner?
From the alley
Yeah.
to Main.
Ah, okay.
It's across the street from the WROK.
Got it.
More across the street from the old Qdoba.
Be a point of reference, I understand. Okay, so.
Now,
so-
what's gonna happen is Henry Ford's gonna do the streetscape in this portion.
Okay.
Which is, the rock sits in here in the parking lot. They're gonna do this as part of their project, they're required to.
Okay.
They're not required to do this
And I'm guessing
So
you're gonna
rather
come to
than-
us later on 1B.
separate. Well, 1B is not, they're gonna ask for anything on 1B at this point.
Is Henry Ford, the developer, going to be coming at us for anything with regard to their streetscaping along the pink area?
As a facade.
Not that I'm aware of, they haven't asked for anything at this point.
Okay,
They're planning on doing their segment in April
okay.
of this year. So I do need an indication as to whether you want them to do this too.
And what, can you give me an idea of what will be done there?
The streetscape design is exactly what's out along the rest of Third Street. Trees, lighting, this dark stamp colored concrete that's kind of a reddish brown,
And what's there now?
just concrete and
It's just straight, is it straight concrete?
Can we ask for the same developer to do the whole street? Or no, do we not?
no,
have that
because the park
ability to
itself
do
is gonna
that?
be, that's how the building, Third Street is where we're gonna tear this building down from.
Correct.
No, but who's doing the
But-
streetscaping for?
Col-
For
Colasani.
Henry
Yeah.
Ford versus.
It's already bid and Cole's under Colasani's contract.
So, but, Tim, two questions. One, why would we use Clark or Colasani as opposed to whoever does our regular streetscape?
Cause,
Throughout the
well, they're
city.
both good at doing it, they're both on site.
Okay.
And it's
So does-
cheaper to bring somebody in that's already here and they don't have to remobilize. It would probably be much more expensive to try and bring somebody from the outside to do that little segment.
So staff has looked at this, whatever you
Not
said
only
that
staff,
proposal
but
was.
the people from Plant Moran have looked at it and.
Okay.
And it's in line with what our normal streetscape would cost for that portion.
Right.
Okay.
I guess that my question was, why wouldn't you just have the one construction company doing the whole Third Street versus bidding it out between the two
Well,
companies?
they're doing this as part of, they're required to
They're
do this
required
on
to
their own.
do theirs.
I
on
get
their
that.
own,
And
but-
then while they're doing their segment, if you authorize the money, they're gonna do this purple.
The same company would be doing it? Okay.
Oh, okay,
It sounded
okay,
like it was
yeah.
a different company.
Nope.
That's
No,
what
I
you're
thought so
asking.
too. I thought you said Colasani was set for them. Okay, so it is the same.
Colasani bid on it, but
Okay, okay.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, and again, I would just say, here's the thing, guys, again, everything we're doing here,
Yeah.
the alley looks great. Everything, we got stamp concrete here, this, that, and the other, and you can't have, rubble leading up to it.
if we
So,
wanted to do it again, I'd look for a resolution on it. Whether Clark asks for an agreement to come back later, I don't know, but I need to get to him that.
I move that we make the resolution for, is it up to, 100,000?
$101,977.50.
$102,000 for the streetscaping,
On Third.
between, the building and the corner on North Third Street.
Okay, I have a motion
Second it.
and a second. Any other discussion? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Tim, you got
That
any more
motion
updates?
passes.
Jeez, oh, Pete, pack these in at the end of the meeting.
You want to touch on that, or you want to just leave 1B for now and
Huh?
you want to just leave 1B for now and let it go?
Oh, it's really off the charts, because we're not gonna do 1B until the
It's gonna be part of the park.
It's part of the park.
It's gonna be part of the park, so.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other updates, Tim?
I believe that's all the update items.
Sure.
I was trying to spend a few million, but.
I was gonna say,
Okay.
was having a good meeting until you got here.
Last item, item 15, other business and reports, downtown manager report. Anything you want to add to there, Sean?
A couple of things I just want to add to my report. The first thing is we have Annika Norris from Oakland County Main Street. She's our Main Street coordinator. She came with some pretty important news that she wanted to share with the board regarding the Main Street Next program. And so if it's okay with the chair, I'd like to give her the floor for a couple minutes.
Sure. Come right up. Thanks.
For you guys. Main Street Oakland County's been looking at our tiers that we have in the Main Street program, making sure they fit all the communities that we have. We have a few communities, Royal Oak, Ferndale, and Rochester, that are a little more advanced than a lot of our other communities. Not to say they're not doing good, but you're in a place where you have a lot of funding, you have really walkable downtowns, they're very successful. You're not focusing just on bringing a community back, right? You're there. You've been doing it for a long time. You have a manager. So we're kind of looking at this next step pilot program with National Main Street. So we've asked them to work with us to develop a pilot program for the 3 communities that we've recommended. We're hoping you guys are interested. And what it will do is it'll come up with some new ways of using the 4 points that would be more specific to your communities on elevating your community even further. So we're in talks with at the national conference, we have several of our national representatives who will sit down and have a meeting with those people that are interested in the pilot program. So basically, it's just a way for you to get more out of the program and make sure that the national or that the Main Street program fits your needs even better. So we're kind of excited about it. It's kind of just that next elevated tier to help you and continue to provide you the supports and services that we feel like you might be needing. And then just wanted to let you know about that and kind of get feedback on whether or not you'd be interested in that. And Ferndale and Rochester are both very interested in going forward, trying to develop this new program.
Is this only offered to the 3 communities?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
There's only 3 that we feel that are ready. Birmingham was also thrown out there, but they're not a select community yet. So,
Are there other communities throughout the country that fit, that are doing the Main Street Next to, or is the pilot just here in Michigan?
the pilot's just here in Michigan. This is kind of something John and I have been talking about as well, as the rest of the team on how we can better support you. Because yes, the 4 points I think are extremely relevant to any community, no matter where you are in your growth. But there's just some more services I think that would be more beneficial to a community that's looking at. I mean, you're more focused on retention and then kind of maybe filling in some gaps and making sure that your mix is completely diverse. Obviously, we're always going to be looking at walkability and transportation and that, but also the residential component is pretty big, and so there's that whole kind of look at keeping people of all ages in our downtowns, and maybe we need to focus on that on some of the more dense downtowns that we have. It's a great idea for other downtowns, but it doesn't exactly work for a lot. So, you guys are the only ones in national. When we proposed this to them, they were like, "Oh wow, yeah." It's because there's urban Maine too, which is another level of the National Main Street. That's kind of set for communities that are a population of 100,000 or more, super dense downtowns with obviously a bigger residential component in that downtown. So there's some things that we can take from that. There's some things that we can take from what we're doing, but we kind of like to look around. And at the national conference, it'll just be the 3 communities that we've discussed, plus different stakeholders from national that'll be there to listen and hear what it is that maybe we can expand on.
I'm new, so I'm going to ask a really dumb question. But what is the 4 points?
Okay, the 4 points, the easy way to remember them are DOPE.
Okay.
Design, organization, promotions, and economic vitality or economic development. They've kind of changed the terminology over the years, but still always looking at the economic component.
Okay.
So this would just basically build off of that. And we're not sure exactly where it'll go, and so your feedback will be very beneficial for us. But we feel this will also be very beneficial to you as well.
So Sean, are you looking for this body to agree to go into this program or to?
Well, I guess I would direct the question back. Do you need like a resolution of support or something for us to prepare to indicate that we accept moving forward into that?
Right.
Okay.
That's what we would be looking for. Right. I mean, it's the biggest kind of ask on you is going to be your support in the process and your feedback and to kind of help. So there might be a couple meetings. Like we already know that several of you are going to the conference, so participating in that meeting that we have there will be big. And then just a resolution. Because the intent is to replicate this once we come up with something that makes sense, to replicate this across National Main Street. They would take it from there. I mean, they're really the ones that are helping to write the programming.
So to answer your question, yeah,
Yeah.
we need to put together a resolution to agree to proceed with being a pilot community for Main Street Next.
I guess my only question is, do we know the full, like, what, in other words, we don't want to commit to it, and
What's our
we want to make
commitment?
sure we know what's expected of us. We don't want to, commit to something and then not do the job that we're supposed to do. I guess
Right.
that's my only concern.
And you don't have to do that tonight.
Okay.
We just wanted to make sure that you understood what the Main Street Next is.
Sure.
It's just we don't quite fully understand either. It would be some
I was going to say,
participation.
it sounds a little bit nebulous at this point.
Right, exactly.
So-
But your I guess we would ask for your participation. Wow, sorry, it's been a long day. In the process, and that's
When
the
you say the
biggest
process,
thing.
do you mean the actual formulation of what it entails?
Right,
Oh, okay.
because you are part
We
of
would be
the
helping to
pilot.
Design it based
Okay.
on our needs.
So why don't we, why don't you take the lead, obviously, on this? You think to canvass us, or we have or in committee meetings, the next round of committee meetings, this is a topic and we go through it?
Yeah,
Sound good?
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
We can run through.
We will look forward to our manager's recommendation.
Absolutely.
And so-
Thanks for
And
sticking
if
with
I
us.
could, I just would like to say thank you for your participation and your sponsorship in the conference that's coming up. We're pretty excited about being able to showcase not only Royal Oak, but some pretty cool things in Oakland County and that we're doing.
Nice, thank you.
So that would bring me to my next item, which is every year, the board authorizes me to attend the National Main Street Conference. Last year it was in Seattle. This year it's going to be in Dallas. It's going to be May 18th through the 20th, I believe. So this year there were some board members who I believe were interested in going. I believe Director Rosbach, you indicated that you were interested in attending. I talked to Director Yesbeck. He volunteered, he was interested in going. He also volunteered Director Riley, he wanted me to say that. So, he called me right before the meeting to tell
That's
me.
all right. That's good.
And then
Dallas, huh?
we even have a member of the city staff, and I don't know how this would work out, but we have our community engagement coordinator, who's Judy Davids, who had indicated a really strong interest in actually attending. Not just because I collaborate with her on a very regular basis in terms of engaging the community downtown, but because, I think it would be helpful for, somebody who I collaborate with to also speak the language of
Yeah.
this program too. So I guess that would be me officially submitting my request to see if the DDA would be interested in funding those individuals, unless there was anybody else on the board who was also interested in attending too. So
we got 4 people.
And how that would also work is Oakland County will cover 2 of our registrations for free. The other 2, of course, the cost would be on us. And then we also qualify for a $1,000 scholarship to go to the conference too. And we can apply that $1,000 any way we'd like, whether we wanted to apply it to airfare or hotel stay or what have you. So that's also an opportunity from Oakland County to incentivize attendance. So.
I would, I'll definitely.
How soon do we have to put this
I don't know
together?
that I can go, but I think I'm tied up that week. but-
How soon do you need some support on this, or you need some action on this?
Ideally, as soon as possible, so I can start making the arrangements and accommodations and whatnot.
Would we, would we also be covering Judy as well? Is that becoming for us? there's stuff that we can do to work closer with the city, and I think this is a unique opportunity for that, and I would welcome that opportunity. To support that.
Let's let Mr. Twing and Mr. Gillum chime in here to see if there's any concerns that either one of them have or procedurally wise.
Well, I would simply ask that you pass a resolution authorizing 4 people.
4 people,
and,
sure.
one of which may be a city staff person,
Oh.
just for clarity. Do you have an overall dollar amount with 4 people you think it would be?
I'd have to look at the travel,
Well, since I'm not calling you guys
costs
up
in
by
terms of
Southwest, you know, goes
airfare and hotel. I'd still have to
I
calculate
don't,
that.
other
but the
than,
cost
other
for
than
the-
clarity of what you want to let happen, I don't have any issue now. I'll punt the rest of that.
Can we just do a reimbursement type of?
Yeah, that would be an option.
Does that work?
We'd have to do, everyone would have to do out of pocket.
Do you see any problem with that, Director?
I don't.
I think with the registration for the conference though, so that's $500 or $512 per person.
Okay.
So, so the county covers 2 of those, so we don't have to worry about the cost of that. So for the other 2, so we'd be looking at $1,024 to cover the costs of registration for the conference, and then, I guess, just
Can they
reimbursement for travel.
Yeah, I was gonna say, could they invoice then for, and becomes an expense to the city on the registration of the conference?
When you guys are taking the bus, right?
They were counting on you to drive, man.
There's a city shuttle you'll be driving.
I don't drive, I'll drive up north at all. Dallas.
I'm flexible.
Not anymore.
Well, I guess we could do this one of 2 ways. If they want to invoice the DEA, we can approve that invoice. Or we can pass 2 resolutions.
I don't need you to tell me how to pay for this.
Yeah,
All I need you to do is tell me how many people you want to go.
4 people.
And how much,
Okay.
and
4
how
people.
much you're willing to spend, and that's cool.
What do you think, so, what is the, add travel, add hotel, whatever?
Yeah, we'll take care of the rest.
Right.
It's usually $2,000 per person.
Taco Bell.
It costs me about $1,200 for
Per
hotel
person.
and accommodation, or airfare and accommodation total out the door. So if you multiply that by 4, you're
With
looking at
per
40.
diem.
You're
So,
looking
so,
at
so,
40.
say, just don't cut yourself short, say max
Per diem.
1,400 per person, okay? How's that? Max 1,500 per person. Covered.
All right, I just need a motion with that in it.
I'll make a motion that DDA covers 4 people to go to the conference, including one from, one city employee. Maximum outlay $1,500 per person for travel expenses.
That doesn't cover the
Cover.
registration, though.
I thought that.
No, they didn't.
No,
That's
it wouldn't
not
cover,
covering-
it wouldn't cover registration, so
Okay,
you
so
add
we're just paying
1,000,
the
so,
registration.
1,000
so
for
it'd
that.
be $6,600 total.
Total?
Yeah.
So divide that by 4, how much is it? 15, 16, 1650. 1650?
1,400 is 519.
It wouldn't be per person though, because 2 people would. have
Yeah,
a
unless we
higher
just
rate.
added it,
Yeah.
but,
I don't care.
or we could just, you want to just go with the top
$1,000
figure of $7,000 or something?
4 people, $7,000. How's that?
Reimbursement costs.
Total.
Up to.
Well, you can go registration, hotel, and travel reimbursement. Be done with
Be
it.
done.
There you go. Okay. Not to exceed 7,000 for 4 people. Cool.
So,
That's a
I have a motion on the table by Director Riley.
Correct.
If I'm going, I think I have to.
I'll support.
There you go.
Sustain.
You don't have to, I don't think you have to.
I can't make a motion or support, so, Director Lockwood, okay. I'll just call for the vote here, here we
Aye.
go. All those in favor? Aye.
Let's go.
And opposed,
Right.
and the motion passes. Okay.
Can we just read the rest of it online?
That concludes my report.
And can I just say, I'm gonna just say one thing on the manager report. I want to, call out Sean here for an incredible job. There was an article that was gonna be written. Sean got wind of it, And exactly everything that we've talked about and dreamed about, how we handle stuff, that's how it was handled. Our PR firm, who's our fledgling PR firm, did a phenomenal job. And long story short, for lack of a better term, this could have potentially been a hit piece. And it turned out to be a piece that we're using as a promotional piece. And there were a lot of people who were involved in this, between Sean headmanned it, our PR firm, different people in the city, the police department, everybody worked. Well, this is like, I mean, I don't think you could, and I don't mean to go on and on, but I don't think you could have scripted anything better, and this is the way I'm looking. I'm very excited for the future and thinking that we have got the right people in place and good stuff's gonna happen, so thank you, Sean.
And what's the piece? Is it the onesie?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's included.
Okay.
It's included.
It was originally gonna be,
How terrible. Royal Oak was.
Okay.
Well, that's great.
and it was handled the right way, it was gotten out in front of,
Good.
presented to them, and
All right, thank you, Sean. Anything else on these other business reports, or are they
No, they're
for
just informational items. I guess the only thing I would add to it, as I heard today, the naming committee is thinking of Centennial Commons
Centennial Commons.
for the name of this new park.
CC
really?
Park.
That was not my name recommendation, but that's okay.
That's a recommendation that
Henry Ford Park.
will be going to the city commission at their next meeting in March.
Centennial Commons.
Does anybody else have anything else for the DDA this evening?
Well, for our 100th
You
anniversary.
guys got
Anything more?
Anything else?
Close it.
Nothing more?
Oh, where's Jason? I will move to adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn.
I second.
And second.
Yay.
All right, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
And the motion passes.
We